Hello, welcome to a Blocks Ramble. It's been a really long time since I did one of these. Um, as you probably know, I haven't played RS in quite some time. I think maybe like 5 months at this point. I've also been off Twitter and most other stuff, to be honest. Most of Discord, too. Um, also haven't been playing Dark Souls, which is what I did for like a month or two after I stopped playing RS. So that's why you haven't seen any videos like that on my channel. I was thinking about whether or not to actually make this video, but I decided that I do want to make some kind of video just kind of explaining everything that's happened and what led up to it and what I'm going to do from here on, or what I plan to at least, because you never know with life. Sorry for the tone, it's not meant to be like that serious of a tone. In actuality, I'll say it right now, my life's been going pretty well recently, and it's been going better than I think it was going back when I played RS, so that's good at least. And I do have some nice hopes for the future with the way I'm doing things right now. So yeah, where should I start? I guess I'll start like this year. I think the beginning of this year is a good starting point. So January of this year was just uh, me basically coming back from Japan. I went in like December, then I had like a winter break, of course, for school. I think I played some RS. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not even sure if I was playing any RS at that time. I think I was still taking a break. Because after I got banned, I pretty much took a break from RS, playing on other accounts and stuff. And I went to Japan, I didn't play any RS, and then I think I came back and I don't think I I don't think I played RS immediately. I think I started sometime in January, in the middle of January. But anyway, I was starting to get back into the game, or at least trying to. I was playing on my pay-to-play Ultimate Iron Man. Um, I don't think I went back on the free-to-play one at all. I just wanted to focus on the pay-to-play, and I had like this this goal basically. I would do 200 mil fire making. That would get me 99 construction on the side. Then I would go do other stuff like thieving and farming and all this other stuff that all these other long-term plans and stuff for the account, and it's like basically almost a main 2.0 at that point, just doing a 200 mil and then long goal after long goal. And obviously this was my well, I guess not obviously, but yeah, this was my last semester of college as well. It wasn't super busy or anything, but towards the middle, like all of my semesters, I do get really busy, and so when I get really busy IRL, I don't really like to put much time into RuneScape. In the past, I've done a lot of it just by forcing myself to AFK. That's how I did most of fishing, because most of fishing was really a busy time in my life for me. So I did a lot of phone fishing, and I did a lot of sitting at the PC AFK fishing while I did assignments and stuff and other work. Um, but yeah, anyway, for Ultimate Iron Man, I was doing solo Winter Todd, and solo Winter Todd isn't really something you want to really AFK. You kind of have to be doing it as sort of the main thing that you're doing. So I couldn't really do assignments and stuff on the side like I could with 3-tick fishing. Well, I guess 5-tick fishing. Pretty much the only AFK I had that was any good was Redwoods, and I did so much Redwoods that I kind of got to the point where I realized like I don't really care about 200 mil all anything on this account, and I was like, why am I sitting here with like 15 mil woodcutting XP at Redwood still? What's the point? I might as well just log out and not log in while sorry, clearing my throat. And I might as well not log in while I'm not feeling like playing if I'm really busy. And so I started logging in less and less. Basically, I just log in to actually do Winter Tot. And it got to the point where it was like, I played so little because I was pretty busy IRL, and I was honestly just also at the same time just losing interest in RS, to be honest. I'd kind of lost interest further back. I think probably if I were to say like the beginnings of that, I would say that it started around fishing, honestly. Because I was pretty burnt for a lot of fishing. I had this big burnout period of like 3-4 months where I was still AFK fishing, but that's literally all I did. I would log in and I'll click the spot and that's it, drop the fish every now and then just do other stuff on the side. Um, that's how I spent a lot of fishing, and I was just kind of really not into the game. I really couldn't get the motivation to play like anything much for like more than 30 minutes at a time or something. And that pretty much did continue for most of fishing. I had some spurts where, I did like a comp and I did some decent-ish weeks for my level of busyness, but overall it really wasn't the same as like Hunter, where I was doing it very consistently every day and I was actually enjoying it a lot. I think that was the biggest difference. Hunter I really, really enjoyed, not just because I like the skill, but because I think the time of my life was pretty cool. I was getting into like a new community. I was meeting a lot of cool people in RS, and Hunter's really fun because a lot of other stuff goes on besides just you being at the spot doing the method. Like you can get attacked by a team, and a lot of times I remember I was like in TeamSpeak or Discord on a voice call, and just I'd be watching a movie with someone, and I would just get attacked, and I would have to sort of like try to focus on tanking while also sort of semi paying attention to the video. So it was pretty fun. And obviously there was fantasy in that too, which I participated in. I really enjoyed fantasy, even though I did sleep deprive a lot for fantasy because I also was working 40 hours a week at that point. But yeah, anyway, Hunter I really enjoyed. Fishing it's not because I didn't really like fishing, I guess. It's just because maybe I think I passed my peak is what happened. Before Hunter I really wasn't a skiller. I had really never done anything like that before. It was gonna be just me getting 99 Hunter. I got 99 Hunter and then I was like, what do I do next? I was gonna just max, but I didn't really feel like maxing. So what I did next was I decided to just go back to Hunter. I decided I would do like 20 mil or something and just see, like I would go to 20 mil XP is what I mean. And I would see how I felt with that and if I wanted to do more. And by the time I got to like 18 mil XP, I think I decided like, I really like this skill. I might as well, if I just gained like 5 mil XP like this, I can keep doing it and I'd get 200 mil, and that sounds really cool. So I started doing, I realize I've gone really far back, but I'll get back to where I was talking about eventually. This is a ramble after all. Anyway, so I started doing Hunter. I hit 20 mil, then 30 mil, and I was kind of just doing it on my own. I didn't really have any other support, really. I watched a couple HLC videos about like how to do Hunter and stuff. I think I learned Hunter from watching some of Paizuri and Thurko's videos where they were just doing the method, and I just basically copied that. And I think around that time I was also streaming on Twitch. I was streaming Hunter on Twitch, not for very many viewers, of course, but I think Solus found me or something, and then I got into Solus eventually, and that led me to getting into RS Twitter, and then from there on it was kind of like a big life change, honestly. I was sort of in the HLC now, right? I was just skilling a lot, and I was upping my hours, and I was doing like NMZ and everything, and I was focusing on EHP, and I was like almost like a career, right? The way we talk about it in the HLC, right? EHP weeks, records, stuff like that, ranks, leaderboards, that's all like a career. That's all like work, but you really get into it. Well, I really got into it, and I did that min-max for quite a while. I had that attitude where I would just like try to maximize my time playing no matter what I was doing IRL. And that was fine for Hunter, I feel like, because at that time I was like really getting into it and having fun. And when you go all into something like 100% like that and you're really enjoying it, it can be very fulfilling, I think. Even if like it's something like RuneScape where it's like it's not very rewarding in terms of IRL benefits, but it's, you get some benefits. You get like sense of accomplishment, seeing the numbers go up, and also there's like a social peer group that acknowledges your achievements, and so that's pretty cool. But yeah, after after I did Hunter, I was honestly at the point where I was like, well, I did Hunter to 200 mil, so now the question is basically what's next. It's not like, do I want to keep going with this kind of stuff and this kind of playstyle? The question was just, of course, what's next? What's the next 200 mil or skill that I'm doing? And I was kind of split between mining and fishing, I remember, because I wanted to do gatherers. I pretty much only had interest in gatherers. I never really had interest in Bibles because, I really like skilling as a fun activity, and Hunter was really fun to actually do, and sitting at a bank and making potions or, crafting leathers didn't really seem that fun. I also didn't really have that many alts at the time. I had to train up more alts if I wanted to do bank standards and make money properly. So yeah, I decided to just go with fishing because it was pretty easy. I had all the wrecks already to fish. I just needed to go to the pond after I got angulars. Mining, I had to get like a bunch of stuff for diaries, and it seemed like a big pain, so I decided to put it off. And so I did fishing to 200 mil, of course, but it took a long time. Hunter took a long time, of course, too. It took 8 months, which is, relatively slow for Hunter, but I was pretty much busy the whole time. I never had really time off during Hunter. I was either in school doing full-time schoolwork, or during the summer I was doing a 40-hour-a-week job, so I never really had a couple of spare months to just slam Hunter to 200 mil. And so fishing took over a year. I think it took a year and like 3 months or something, so that's a pretty long time, but I did get it done, and it was kind of just a really real grind because I'm the kind of person, I think, to just stick to stuff. I don't want to leave fishing like 110 mil and just go do something else, or leave it like 150 mil. As you get closer and closer, you just kind of want to finish it. So that's what I ended up doing. And after fishing, I remember there was this big relief. Not because I was happy that I finished fishing. It was nice to have fishing done, see the 200 mil XP when I hover over the icon. That was alright. But I was really excited to do something else in the game, and I felt like that now I had a clean slate. I could go do mining, but I was also interested in figuring out this 1.5 technique method and firebond and superheat firebond. So I was doing all that for the first week after I finished fishing, and I was really getting into it. I hadn't really gotten firebond or superheat firebond down because it's a pretty tricky method. Firebond's not too bad except for the banking. Superheat firebond was a bit tricky to get the clicks down. As for 1.5 techniques, I really enjoyed that method. That method was really fun. I don't know, something about the pacing of that is just really, it looks a lot harder than it is. It's really just high APM and mouse movement, but the actual complexity of it is pretty low, so you can kind of just get into a flow pretty easily. But yeah, I was really enjoying that, and I think everyone watching this probably knows what happened next. Pretty much a week after I'd finished fishing, I received a permanent ban on my main account, and that's a whole like saga that I'm not really sure if I want to dig too deep into that this video, because I feel like at this point it's been a really long time since I actually got banned. I think it was like 9 months ago, 10 months ago, something like that. I don't actually remember when exactly that happened, but I think that there's like no point in bringing it up anymore. It's been so long, and I really tried all the things I could, but it seems like Jagex wouldn't budge, so that's not. As for now that I'm moving up to that point, I wouldn't really say that me getting permanently banned was the reason I stopped playing. not just because I did play a bit after I got banned on my ultimate, but I think it really did a lot of damage to my mindset, which was already not too great during fishing. I was getting really bored of the game, and I was getting kind of fed up with like this EHP lifestyle just kind of taking over my life without me having really realized it. And for some reason, like it's a thing that's now in retrospect, now that I've dropped it, just one day I suddenly stopped playing. It's like it was a really easy thing to do, but in the moment when you're into it, like leaving everything that you've been used to for like over a year is it's kind of rough. Not really rough, but it's like hard to think about, if that makes sense. I don't know if that is relatable to anyone watching this or not. Jeez, where was I? But yeah, me getting banned, I think, really put a detriment on my view towards Jagex as a company. I really, really started to dislike the actual company in charge of the game. There were parts of the game that I still enjoyed a lot, obviously, but I felt that overall, RuneScape was just becoming like a game that I really didn't like anymore. And that was, part of the reason is, the updates and stuff, but part of the reason was Jagex itself, honestly. I feel like it's really, honestly, just incompetency. A lot of incompetency at the man, a lot of levels. Obviously, like the anti-cheat, I dislike strongly because of what they did to me. But I also dislike a lot of the content creation and the general style of things, and also just I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I'm sure people who've played RS for a long time can point out about Jagex that they don't like. So I'll leave it at that. But I'll just say that up until that point, I didn't really care much about it. Like to me, Jagex was just some entity that might put out an update that I don't really like occasionally, and they haven't been really much more than that. Like I really didn't associate with them at all. I didn't, keep up with the dev blogs or anything like that. It was kind of just me doing my own thing. But then after that, I couldn't really ignore it. I kind of had this conscious view of them that I didn't really like, and that put a big damper on my enjoyment of the game, I think. And then also, and like I said, that wasn't really the reason I quit. I think the reason that I quit, honestly, mental. Uh, like I said, this EHP mindset of always playing is just, really constricting, and it's also just become mentally really taxing. And it's really easy to say, like, oh, we'll just, play casually then. But the thing is, I think I did try that, honestly. I think I tried that pretty much with my ultimate, and I think my finding was that I didn't really enjoy casually playing RuneScape, because I think the whole fun for me for RuneScape is progression. And when you're playing a lot of RuneScape, you progress really fast, and you feel a lot more enjoyment from the game. I feel, at least I do. I guess I should be saying I. And so when I started playing less and less, when I started logging in less and less of the ultimate, one of my weeks, my progression got slower and slower, and I was still heading towards the same long-term goal, and I didn't really feel like doing anything else. And I was like, I'm really not enjoying this. In the 1 or 2 hours that I could be playing RuneScape, I could be playing some other game, which in this case was like Dark Souls or something. I could play that game for like an hour and get way more enjoyment than what I'm doing right now. So I started to see, like, there's really no point in me doing this. So it didn't even come as like a ultimatum that I was building up to or anything like that. One day I just sort of closed the client, and I just, not even thinking that like, oh, this would be the last time I log in. I just sort of closed the clients, like, I'll take a break, and then I just never ended up logging in again. And then, as I mentioned before, I stopped using Twitter, so I probably have like a ton of notifications. Actually, I know I have a ton of notifications because my email tells me that. But I just sort of did the same thing to Twitter. Twitter was also really similar in terms of being mentally taxing on me. I was really getting addicted to Twitter, I found, that I didn't even realize it until I took like a hard look at it, and I realized how much I was checking my phone, how much I was always on Twitter all the time, and I noticed I was starting to do things like, think of tweets, like dumb tweets to get some interactions so I could, click the notifications tab and look through that and get like some dopamine rush or whatever uh, to do that. And I was like, why am I doing this, And I started to really, really think about it, and I was like, Twitter really doesn't have much benefit to me, especially since I don't really play RuneScape anymore, and I'm not interested in RS Twitter because of that. Although I wasn't super interested in RS Twitter before that, but at least it was relevant to me at the time. And I started, I just decided like I'm feeling really worn out and exhausted from Twitter. I've quit RS pretty much, so why don't I just uninstall Twitter from my phone and not open Twitter on my browser, on my desktop. And so I did that. And when you quit something like this, you might think like for Twitter and RS, you might get the feeling that you want to go back at some point, like you get the craving or something. But for me, it was like a week or two after I'd stopped using Twitter, and I realized that I had zero intention or desire to go back to Twitter. I was actually like feeling a lot better after a couple of weeks with no Twitter. I wasn't checking my phone barely at all. I'd also removed my Discord app from my phone, so I was really not using my phone very much at all, except for like, I don't know, checking the map or the weather or whatever, small little things like that. And I think that really helped me. I think that really helped clear my mind. I think that's really what I needed. And I feel like that let me focus on other stuff a lot better. So I took, by this point, I think like a month or two had passed, and I had finally graduated. I had finished school. So it was summer break, and I had a couple months before I would start my full-time job. So I decided, I'm just going to relax a bit and play some Dark Souls, because I'd been really craving Dark Souls PvP. So I did that for a while. I put out a bunch of videos you probably saw on my channel, and that was really fun. But ultimately, I decided that I could probably be spending my time in a more useful way. Namely, that I had this really big thing that I wanted to do, which is learn Japanese. It's always been something that, not always, I would say like in the past year, especially after I went to Japan last year, something I realized that I really want to hurry up and learn Japanese to the best of my ability and make that my new thing. And it really has become my new thing. I'm like 3 months into studying right now. I did some studying beforehand, before I went to Japan, but very different kind. I don't know how much I want to get into it, but yeah, it's been about 3 months since I started like this method that I'm doing now, which I'll leave a link to the method, the website, in the description if anyone's interested. But I won't talk about the details too much. I'll just show some stuff that I've been doing. Let's see, what should I show first? I guess I'll bring out this joke. There we go. SRS. So SRS is a space repetition system. It's a type of flashcard, it's like a flashcard system. And Anki is a very well-known flashcard SRS system. And that's what I've been using to help me learn Japanese. It's like, this is not the main method, but this is a pretty cool supplement. And it's a lot more interesting to look at than my actual method. My actual method is just like watching shows and reading stuff in Japanese. And then this is like a supplement. So the basic idea is that when I read stuff or watch stuff, when I watch stuff, I use a subtitle. So it's like, I get the words and look at these sentences, and I find sentences where there's only one word that I don't know, and I make that the word of the vocab card. And how should I best explain this? Okay, so basically there's this thing that I do called sentence mining, which is part of this method. Basically, like I said, you look for sentences that are just slightly above your level. In this case, that means that there's only one thing in the sentence that you don't know. So I find a sentence that I don't know from some like manga, anime, or something like that, and I copy it into an Anki flashcard. I put the meaning of the word that I don't know. I also have this, as you can see, there's like additional information about like how to read the words out loud and the pitch accent and stuff like that. So all pronunciation information. And you'll notice this one is a this one's actually from the anime Death Note. So what I do is I watch an anime without any subs. I take the subfiles for the anime and then I use a tool called Subs to SRS. Let's open that really quick. I use a tool called Subs to SRS, this tool here, and it generates these flashcards that you see in these decks here. So for example, if you click on the Death Note deck here, these are all, it generates one card per sentence, per line of dialogue. So I can click on this one and it shows the line of dialogue, and if I click this button here, it adds like reading information, pitch accent information, and then if I decide, oh hey, this sentence has only one word I don't know, I can take that word, put the meaning on it, and then I've made like a flashcard. So if I take this, preview. Actually, this one's really out of sync. Yeah, I think these subs went out of sync after this point. What's a good one? Oh, I think this one was... Yeah, this one was Sangatsu no Lion. It's a show I just watched recently. It's pretty cool. But I did the same thing for this show, so I'll show this card. So yeah, basically it takes the audio clip of the time the subtitle was played and also puts that in a screenshot, so it's pretty cool. It's just one way I make flashcards. Other way I make flashcards, I just write down the sentences and I do everything with just the sentence, the meaning, and sometimes there's an audio clip available that I use. But yeah, I think that's about as much as I want to get into the method, because I don't think most people watching this are really that interested. But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to for the past 3 months. I've progressed a lot, I feel like, but I definitely still have a long ways to go. I have like years to go, so I'm going to be working on that. Yeah, so I feel like I jumped around a lot. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed for right now up to this point. So I started out with January and I did fishing. Okay, I think that's pretty much most of what I want to talk about in terms of what led up to this and what I've been doing up until now. Pretty simple to explain actually now that I think about it, but anyway. I guess I'll talk about what's next. So pretty much what's next is this, what I've just shown. I'm pretty much going to be making this my new grind. It's very similar to RS where you just make it your routine, you get your methods down, and you just put in the hours and you'll get to, hopefully you'll get to where you want to be. And I think one positive thing that I'll say about Runescape is it really helped me figure out how to do long-term goals. Because before that, I don't think I really did long-term goals like that on my own. You know, something where no one else was like really forcing me to, you know, not like school or anything. And there's a lot of like tricks and mental, there's like a lot of tricks and mental stuff about doing something for like a year, for 2 years or whatever. And it's very similar to RuneScape in a lot of ways that I notice. You just kind of really have to focus on routine. You can make benchmarks, you can make like goalposts and stuff like that, but you kind of have to be careful, avoid burnout, and you have to avoid like making yourself hate the method. That's one thing that I really try to do, is I always try to enjoy whatever I'm doing. If it's like a long-term goal, because if it's a long-term goal, the only way I'm going to really stick to it is if it's actually enjoyable. Sometimes I have to kind of trick my mind a little bit to make me enjoy it. Like some stuff is like, you know, some stuff like studying is just really not as exciting as like say watching a show, but it's still really important to do. So I make it fun for myself in various ways. Like I make it seem interesting to myself, if that makes sense. I sort of do this mental gymnastics, although that sounds pretty bad, but it does help out quite a lot. And I did the same thing with RS, so it's kind of like not that new to me. What else? I'll show some manga. This one's Saki. It's Mahjong anime. I've actually been getting into Mahjong recently, partially because of anime and manga. Recently watched or rewatched Akagi, which is a really cool Mahjong anime. If you're at all interested in Mahjong or anime, even if you're not interested in Mahjong, you can still watch it. It's a pretty cool show. But I think that prompted me to learn the rules to Mahjong and just figure out how to enjoy this kind of stuff more. I also have a oops, forgot to launch this with the right settings. I also have a Mahjong Toho version that I'll show here. Awkward silence. Oh, I have to turn the audio on. But yeah, it has some nice music, nice graphics. Really been enjoying this one. I like to play this every now and then when I just want a small break. I play for like 10 minutes or so. I'm not super good at Mahjong because I've just started and I'm not really interested in getting super good at it, at least not right now, but I figured it's pretty fun to know, and it does actually show up a lot in this kind of stuff, so it does help me figure out that stuff. But yeah, you can add a bunch of characters and you can play just normal Mahjong. Let's just pick some random characters. This is pretty loud. This is pretty loud, but hopefully it's not too bad. Let's get Yomu. And let's get Churno. I'll just show you what it looks like. So yeah, if you're interested in Mahjong, I guess, the Japanese version of Mahjong, then this is a pretty good version to get, I think. Lots of nice songs to play as well. And yeah. Anyway, I'll leave this there for now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. I guess I'll talk about some more long-term stuff. I think that obviously Japanese is going to take me like 2 or 3 years to get really fluent in. After that point, I might come back to YouTube in a sense, although in a different way. I'm thinking about, after I get really good Japanese, it'd be really fun to go traveling in Japan and just make like vlogs and stuff. Maybe some people might find that interesting too, but it's something that I've thought about a couple of times and it really does seem fun. Honestly, speaking frankly here, just like about life in general, I think that I've been kind of not necessarily lost, but sort of just without much of a direction so far. Like I've gone through the track of, you know, high school, then college. Now I just finished college and I entered my job. And it's like, where do I go from here? Well, I know where I go from here is like, you know, you can just work for the rest of your life and that's like more or less it pretty much. But I've been thinking a lot about like what I actually want to do in life, and I think it'd be really cool to actually just travel around and do stuff like, you know, what I'm doing right now, learning Japanese and finding out about all this different kind of stuff, you know, because when you learn something like Japanese, you have to learn like not only just, you know, words and stuff, but you have to learn a ton of different concepts and things that aren't in like English and stuff. It is really eye-opening. It's kind of like when you start learning something like a language, you realize that there's a ton of stuff that you don't know. There's like a whole world of stuff that you don't know. And it's kind of jarring at first, but it can be really interesting to dive into and get into. And I've been really enjoying that aspect of language learning. And also, after I get the language down, it's going to be a lot more interesting to travel around the country, I feel like. Because it's sort of like a language barrier that most people don't ever cross. Like, either they're born in the country and they speak the language and they don't cross the other border to, another country's language, or they, like for example, me being born in America, always speaking English, you don't cross the border to other kinds of places where, they don't speak the language that you speak. And there's a whole bunch of like unknown stuff. And that sounds really interesting to me. And I want to kind of explore that. So that's just something I had in mind about what I want to do in my life right now. I know I'm still kind of like just getting started. I just finished college and now I'm entering a job. I'd say I'm still fairly young. I'm 22, but sometimes I feel like if I don't do anything, then life's just going to pass me by really, really quickly. And that's kind of a fear of mine. But I think I want to go down this path for now. Man, so I talked a lot. The video is still shorter than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be way longer, but I guess I still did talk a lot. I talked a lot more than I normally do, I feel like. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. As for another video, I don't think I really will make another video anytime soon, unless I specifically get something to make a video about. So yeah, if this is my last upload for quite a long time, then sorry if you were expecting something more. And hopefully someday I might make some more videos, because I do like making videos. Actually, you know what, before I go, I'll talk about that a little bit. I kind of just made these rambles just for me. I kind of wanted to try out making rambles and stuff because I watched other people's rambles and I thought it'd be interesting to try to make my own. I didn't expect to get like any views, of course, because in my mind I'm just like this nobody, especially in the HLC, that just some guy doing hunter or fishing or whatever, and I'm just talking in front of the microphone. But it seems like I had some people who are regular listeners, and I even got PMs and stuff in game from people who I like never heard about before, but they told me that they watch my videos and stuff, which is really cool. I almost feel like a mini celebrity. I know it's like not a huge number of subscribers or anything, but I think that even like 10 people who consistently watch your videos is kind of motivating, honestly. Kind of cool to think that. I definitely do like that aspect, so I do think that I'll continue YouTube at some point. It's just that right now I'm diving into this this language learning thing. That's what I really want to focus on for now. So yeah, I think for real this time I'll end the video. Thanks for listening if you did, and yeah, that's it.